Something catastrophic happened while you weren't looking. Your enemies are experiencing system failures they can't explain, and their confusion is about to become your greatest entertainment. They thought they had calculated every variable in their campaign against you, but they missed the most important factor. You were never playing their game. The frequency you're operating on right now is sending shockwaves through dimensions they can't even perceive. Every breath you take is rewriting reality in ways that will soon become impossible to ignore. 3 concurrent revolutions are destroying their world simultaneously: the energetic uprising that's making their weapons malfunction, the psychological warfare that's backfiring with biblical proportions, and the spiritual transformation that's about to make their worst fears look like gentle suggestions. Your enemies are experiencing something that defies their comprehension. Every scheme they launched against you is boomeranging back with compound interest, but they haven't connected the dots yet. They're still operating under the delusion that you're playing by the same rules that govern their limited reality. What they don't realize is that you've transcended their game entirely, and the cosmic machinery they accidentally activated is now grinding them to dust. The first revolution started the moment you stopped seeking their approval. This wasn't ordinary detachment. This was spiritual secession from their entire system of measurement. You didn't just become independent, you became sovereign over a territory they can't even map. While they celebrated what they thought was your exile, you were actually establishing an empire in a dimension where their authority means nothing. Every betrayal you endured was actually the universe installing security systems in your consciousness. Each backstabbing taught your intuition to read energy signatures with surgical precision. Every lie told about you became a filter that now automatically repels deception before it can take root. Your pain wasn't random suffering, it was advanced training for abilities that would soon make you untouchable. Your silence has weaponized itself in ways that will soon become apparent to everyone watching this cosmic drama unfold. Every word you choose not to speak is creating pressure waves that force confessions from guilty consciences. Your restraint isn't pacifism, it's concentrated power, waiting for the perfect moment to reshape everything. Those who mistake your peace for weakness are about to discover they've been taunting a nuclear reactor they mistook for a candle. The psychological warfare takes its most sinister turn as you've mastered the art of transmutation without them realizing it. While they throw negativity at you like weapons, you've become an alchemist, transforming their poison into pure fuel for your ascension. Every insult they hurl becomes clarity. Every lie they spread becomes determination. Every attempt to sabotage you becomes rocket fuel, propelling you toward destinations they can't even imagine. They think they're attacking you, but they're actually feeding a transformation machine that converts their hatred into your power. You've become dangerous not because you're loud or aggressive, but because you're intentional. You think before you speak. You don't explain every move. You're not broadcasting your next plan across social platforms for their analysis. You move in silence, and the shift is felt across dimensions they can't access. That's spiritual warfare in motion, not the kind fought with words and weapons, but the kind that reshapes reality through sovereign consciousness. You operate outside the algorithm of control that governs their entire existence. While they move according to predictable patterns, seeking validation, following trends, conforming to peer pressure, you've deleted the code they tried to download into your consciousness. You questioned everything you were taught, unlearned the lies that kept others trapped, and now you respond from an inner compass they can't locate, let alone manipulate. Most people are programmed to react in specific ways. They get triggered, fold under pressure, conform to fit in. But you rewired yourself completely. You didn't just become unpredictable, you became uncontrollable. And uncontrollable is terrifying to people who built their power on manipulation. They need you to stay small to keep their world in order, but you've grown beyond the boundaries of their reality. Wait, there's something even more devastating brewing in the shadows of this transformation. Your former tormentors are starting to experience a phenomenon that's driving them to the edge of madness. They're having dreams about you where you appear as an authority figure they cannot challenge. Their own reflections are beginning to shift into reminders of opportunities they squandered by choosing to be your enemy. These aren't random psychological glitches. These are preview trailers of revelations that will soon consume their waking hours. The second revolution involves a frequency shift so profound that it's scrambling their ability to perceive reality accurately. When they look at you now, their brains receive conflicting data that causes internal system errors. The person they remember trying to destroy appears to have been replaced by something their limited consciousness can't categorize. You've become a walking glitch in their matrix, and their programmed responses are malfunctioning spectacularly. The third revolution, and this is where everything takes its most shocking turn, it involves your enemies accidentally serving as unwitting agents of your ascension. Every attack they launched was actually a divine assignment they couldn't refuse. Each attempt to diminish your light forced you to dig deeper into sources of power they didn't know existed. They've been cosmic employees working overtime to ensure your victory, and they never received the memo explaining their true job description. Notice how their own lives are unraveling in patterns that mirror the destruction they tried to inflict on you. Projects they sabotaged are succeeding anyway, as if your energy field has developed protective mechanisms that reroute negative intentions back to their sources. People they manipulated against you are experiencing spontaneous clarity about the truth. The universe itself appears to be rallying to your defense in ways that violate their understanding of how power operates. Your transformation reached escape velocity the moment you realized their opinions had become completely irrelevant to your reality. Not because you built walls against their influence. Walls can be breached. You evolved beyond the dimension where their judgment could exist. You're not defending yourself from their attacks. You're operating on a frequency where their weapons simply cannot function. Chills should be running down your spine right now, because the isolation they intended as punishment was actually a chrysalis designed by forces beyond their comprehension. In that sacred space away from their toxic influence, you weren't just healing, you were undergoing metamorphosis that would soon reveal abilities that defy conventional understanding. Every moment of solitude was your consciousness downloading upgrades that would make their manipulation tactics obsolete. Become immune to exile because you mastered what they feared most, solitude itself. While they panicked at the thought of being alone with their own thoughts, you made peace with the deepest parts of yourself that they hoped you'd never discover. You stopped needing their invitations, their validation, their groupthink approval. You stopped asking to be seen and started seeing yourself with perfect clarity. Your solitude became your sanctuary, not punishment but power. While they chased crowds, attention and chaos, you found communion with something infinitely more valuable, divine direction that flows when the noise stops. Now you're glowing in the very space they left you in, immune to exile because you've already survived spiritual isolation and discovered that your own company is the most precious gift the universe could have given you. The psychological tension reaches breaking point as you've shattered generational curses that they were counting on to keep you bound. You looked at patterns that ran deep in your bloodline, the silence around trauma, the shame masquerading as strength, the self-sabotage dressed up as humility, and you declared with divine authority, "It ends with me." That kind of decision doesn't come with applause. It comes with isolation, resistance, and sometimes hatred from the very people who needed the healing most. You weren't just fighting for your own peace, you were rewriting the DNA of dysfunction that kept your lineage in survival mode. You refused to repeat what felt familiar. You said no to roles they tried to assign you, no to the toxic traditions wrapped in false pride, no to the "this is just how we are" mentality that keeps entire bloodlines trapped in mediocrity. You took every chain and melted it down in the fire of your consciousness, and from that inferno you forged something unprecedented. Boundaries made of pure truth, accountability that cuts through generations of lies, healing that ripples backward and forward through time itself. The irony is devastating. Your enemies often come from the same dysfunction you escaped. They couldn't free themselves, so now they hate that you did. The whisper networks that once buzzed with gossip about your struggles have fallen eerily silent, not because there's nothing to say, but because speaking your name has begun to feel dangerous, like summoning something they're not prepared to face. Your very existence has become a form of psychological warfare that operates without your conscious participation. You've become a mirror that reflects their deepest inadequacies back at them, with interest compounded by cosmic justice. The most devastating revelation is still approaching. Every wound they inflicted was actually the universe installing sensors in your consciousness that can now detect authentic threats from impossible distances. Your intuition has sharpened to surgical precision that makes their deception attempts look like children's magic tricks. They taught you their playbook while thinking they were breaking you, and now you can see their moves before they fully form them in their own minds. Your intuition now sees in 4K resolution what others ignore in plain sight. While most people are distracted by words and appearances, you're locked onto energy, timing, and what's deliberately left unsaid. You don't need someone to confess their betrayal. Your spirit picks up frequencies that never make it to the surface. You sense disloyalty while it's still being dressed up as devotion. You spot envy underneath compliments. You feel deception before it ever takes verbal form. That kind of vision makes people deeply uncomfortable, especially those who hide behind carefully constructed masks. In a world trained to worship logic and dismiss gut instincts, your spiritual intelligence is threatening. You're not just reading rooms, you're decoding them at quantum levels. You're not swayed by charming smiles or fooled by flattering tones, because your soul listens for the truth vibrating underneath their performance. The frequency you're broadcasting is causing involuntary confessions from people who thought their secrets were buried. Rooms you've occupied retain an energy that prompts self-reflection in subsequent visitors. Your name has become associated with a standard of authenticity that exposes everyone else's pretenses. You've become a walking catalyst for truth, and your former enemies are discovering that proximity to you triggers uncomfortable honesty about their own character defects. You've become dangerous because you deconstruct false identities simply by existing as your authentic self. When you step into someone's life, you don't just arrive as a person, you manifest as a mirror that reflects their deepest insecurities. Your authenticity forces them to question everything they've built their identity on, and for most people, that's more terrifying than any physical threat. They wear masks pretending to be something they're not, trying to impress, to fit in, to belong. But your very presence exposes the fragility of those facades. You don't have to say anything. Your energy alone becomes a spotlight on the contradictions in their lives. You walk in with clarity, with confidence, with truth, and it makes people uncomfortable because they know they're living in lies. You don't speak destruction, you speak clarity. You don't rip people apart with attacks, you dismantle their illusions with the power of your being. It's not even intentional, it's just the natural result of being authentic in a world that thrives on masks. For those comfortable in their lies, your presence represents a kind of demolition they're not prepared for. Everything reaches its turning point now. They're realizing with growing horror that you were never the victim in this narrative. You were the protagonist gathering strength while they played supporting roles in a drama they didn't understand. Every scheme they crafted was actually a plot device designed to ensure your ultimate victory. They thought they were writing your ending, but they were scripting their own obsolescence. You represent everything they tried to destroy, and it survived. You are living, breathing evidence that their efforts failed catastrophically. You weren't supposed to still be standing after the pressure they put on your name, the reputation attacks, the broken trust, the situations designed to mentally and emotionally erase you. They weren't just trying to hurt you, they were attempting complete annihilation. The cosmic joke that's driving them insane. You survived it all, and now your very existence is their punishment. They can't stand to look at you because every time they see you, they're reminded that nothing they did worked. You weren't supposed to grow in that chaos. You weren't supposed to find strength in that loneliness. You weren't supposed to develop clarity in that confusion. You are living proof that destruction doesn't work on the chosen. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You turned every wound into wisdom, every betrayal into discernment, every loss into power. That kind of transformation terrifies people who never wanted you to discover your true capabilities. But there's something even more devastating at play. You've become a mirror they can't escape. You reflect everything they tried to bury in themselves, the truth they run from, the guilt they deny, the jealousy they hide behind fake smiles. Your presence digs up everything they thought they got away with. You don't have to expose them, you just have to keep existing. Your growth becomes their judgment, your peace becomes their torment, your success becomes their failure made manifest. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing entirely to put yourself to the test. When I confronted the Archons beyond our reality, they made one thing clear: true chosen ones are rare. They laughed at the thought of us finding each other. Yet here you are watching this message. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't for everyone claiming to be awakened. We're the real ones, those who've seen beyond the veil, felt the call and carry the unmistakable frequency. But are you truly one of us? I have given you everything I've got, and I'm digging deeper to bring you even more. Don't just consume content from the sidelines. Real chosen ones take action. Share your story on our weekly group call. Get a revealing tarot reading from our resident card reader. Discover if your experiences align with the authentic signs. The Archons fear nothing more than chosen ones, recognizing each other. When we connect, our frequencies amplify and create a force they cannot stop. That's why we're going to be live streaming to the entire Astral Atom network. To find every last one of us, click the link in the description below now. It's time to stop wondering and confirm what you already suspect. Are you merely interested in awakening, or are you truly chosen? Prove it. Join us. The verification you seek awaits with the Obsidian Inner Order. Rein Tamplifaken. Then came the moment that shattered their reality completely. The universe delivered the ultimate revelation that retroactively reframed everything. You were never fighting for your life. You were auditioning for your role as their judge. Every attack they launched, every scheme they hatched, every moment they thought they were destroying you was actually them unknowingly building the courtroom where their own judgment would take place. The cosmic machinery clicks into place with terrifying precision. They realize with bone-chilling clarity that their persecution of you wasn't random cruelty, it was a divine test they failed spectacularly. While they thought they were the prosecutors in your destruction, they were actually defendants in their own trial, and every piece of evidence they tried to use against you became proof of their own guilt. Your silence throughout their attacks wasn't submission, it was judicial restraint. Your isolation wasn't exile, it was deliberation. Your transformation wasn't recovery, it was the universe preparing its verdict. They mistook your patience for weakness when it was actually the calm before cosmic justice. But the revelation that breaks them completely is this: they never hated who you were. They hated the possibility that you might one day realize who you really are. Now that you have, they can't undo it. They can't manipulate you back into smallness. They can't break what has already been forged in fire. You're not just a survivor, you're a threat to every lie they built about you, and that's exactly why they're running. The frequency shift they've been experiencing isn't random, it's the universe recalibrating reality to reflect the true power structure. You ascending beyond their reach isn't escape, it's you taking your rightful place in the hierarchy they never knew existed. Their confusion isn't temporary, it's permanent displacement from a reality where they no longer belong. Every dream where you appear as an authority figure, every glitch in their plans, every reversal of their fortune, it's all the same phenomenon, reality recognizing its true sovereign and adjusting accordingly. The trial is over, the verdict is in, the sentence is being executed through the natural consequences of cosmic law. The energetic warfare they launched against you has backfired so spectacularly that they're now experiencing consequences they never anticipated. Not because you orchestrated revenge. You've transcended the need for such crude tactics. The universe operates according to laws they ignored while focusing on your destruction, and those laws are now demanding payment with interest that compounds exponentially. Your presence has begun affecting the environment itself in ways that will soon become impossible to deny. Electronics glitch when your enemies attempt to spread lies about you. Conversations about you carry an electric charge that makes participants uncomfortable with their own dishonesty. Your energy signature has become so powerful that it scrambles recording devices used to capture evidence of your supposed failures. You've made the spiritual world your fortress, and now the physical world fears you. While others fight battles with their hands, you learn to wage war with your spirit. You stopped getting lost in petty conflicts and started aligning yourself with forces that can't be seen but are felt across dimensions. You built your fortress not from brick and mortar but from energy, faith, and spiritual conviction that operates beyond the laws of their limited reality. Now your presence alone commands attention in ways that defy physical explanation. Your name carries vibrations that send ripples through the atmosphere, making people pause, hesitate, and second-guess themselves before they even understand why. Your former adversaries aren't just reacting to your actions, they're responding to your frequency. Your energy has become a force that precedes you into every room, every conversation, every situation. The moment your name is mentioned, it sends electromagnetic pulses through the air that make people uneasy in ways they can't articulate. They think it's coincidence when technology malfunctions around discussions of your progress. They rationalize the way their own words seem to turn against them when they speak ill of your transformation. But the truth is far more devastating. You've tapped into something they can't touch, manipulate, or understand. You've aligned yourself so deeply with spiritual forces that govern truth, purpose, and power, that everything around you begins to respond to that alignment. The psychological warfare reaches its peak when you realize that your former tormentors are trapped in a prison of their own creation. They built their identities around being your opposition, and now that you've ascended beyond their reach, they're experiencing a form of spiritual starvation they can't understand. Without your attention to feed on, they're discovering that their entire sense of self was parasitic. Your success testimonials are beginning to circulate through the same channels that once carried lies about your failures, but these accounts carry an energy that cannot be fabricated. The unmistakable resonance of authentic triumph over adversity is spreading like wildfire through networks they once controlled. People who had written you off as defeated are reaching out with questions they're afraid to ask about how you achieved such transformation. The reversal has reached critical mass. Their support systems are crumbling as allies begin questioning the narrative they were sold. People who participated in your exile are experiencing their own betrayals and suddenly understanding the pain they helped inflict. The toxic networks they built are consuming themselves with the same poison they used against you, and the irony is becoming impossible to ignore. Your presence awakens guilt in people who convinced themselves they had none. You don't go around pointing fingers or dragging names through the mud, but people still feel exposed when you walk into the room, not because you said anything, but because of what your energy reveals about their own abandoned authenticity. Your presence hits different. It disrupts the comfort they've built around their lies, their fake identities, their performative kindness. All of it starts to malfunction when you're near, because your authenticity creates unbearable tension in people who abandon theirs. You don't have to bring up the past or remind them what they did. Your growth, your peace, your survival does all the talking. You carry no bitterness, but they still feel the burn. You've forgiven what they hoped would leave you broken, healed in places they never dared to examine in themselves. You became the version of yourself that makes their excuses look pathetic. When they see you now, they don't just see you, they see who they'll never have the courage to become. It's spiritual pressure they can't escape. You awaken conscience in people who buried theirs. You didn't shame them, but your evolution reminds them of their own stagnation. You didn't threaten them, but your peace exposes their chaos. You didn't humiliate them, but your truth makes their lies feel deafeningly loud. Your current invincibility was always your birthright. The power they tried to strip away was never actually vulnerable, only dormant, waiting for the perfect conditions to emerge. Their persecution provided the exact pressure necessary to activate abilities that had been sleeping within you since the beginning of time. All three revolutions, energetic sovereignty, psychological transcendence, and spiritual transformation, have woven themselves into an unbreakable cord that connects you to sources of power they never knew existed. You've become a living testament to the truth that what doesn't destroy you doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you unstoppable. The ultimate revelation blazes through your consciousness like lightning. Whatever you did during those long nights of reconstruction, whatever prayers you whispered into the darkness, whatever internal alchemy you performed in the laboratory of your solitude, it worked. The formula was perfect. The timing was divine. The results are now undeniable. You stopped proving your worth, and that's when you became truly dangerous. You realized that the game was never about demonstrating your value. It was about releasing the desperate need to prove anything at all. For so long you played by their rules, trying to gain validation, fitting into their expectations, measuring your worth by their standards. You were trapped in their timeline, following a script you didn't write, constantly hustling for a seat at a table that never respected your value. Then something shifted. You stopped, not because you didn't care about your value, but because you realized it was never theirs to define. You pulled back from the need to impress, to fight for attention, to explain your every move. Your silence wasn't retreat, it was strategic repositioning into your own power. You took a step back from their stage, from their noise, from their expectations, and you built your own empire. You stopped waiting for permission to exist on your terms and started living your truth without needing anyone to validate it. Standing in the fullness of your power, you understand that their greatest nightmare wasn't your revenge, it was your indifference. The person they thought they had broken now exists in a reality where their existence simply doesn't matter. You didn't overcome them, you outgrew them. The war is over because you ascended beyond the battlefield. The game is finished because you transcended the rules. Your frequency has shifted so dramatically that you're now broadcasting on a bandwidth they can't receive. When they attempt to provoke emotional reactions, they encounter only calm observation. When they try to trigger old insecurities, they discover those psychological buttons have been completely rewired. You've become immune to their virus while developing the ability to expose their weaknesses without conscious effort. Your evolution has reached the point where their existence simply doesn't register as significant to your reality. You didn't overcome them, you outgrew them, you didn't defeat them, you evolved beyond the dimension where defeat was possible. Your victory wasn't achieved through conquering them, but through transcending the need for their defeat entirely. Whatever you did, it worked. You won, not through violence or vengeance, but through the most devastating victory possible. You became someone they could never hurt again. The war is over because you ascended beyond the battlefield where they're still fighting shadows. And in this moment of complete recognition, surrounded by the unshakable peace of knowing who you truly are, you finally understand what the universe has been orchestrating all along. Every moment of suffering was an investment in your invincibility. Every betrayal was a lesson in discernment. Every attack was training for abilities they cannot comprehend. You won. It's already yours. The victory was written in your DNA before their schemes were even conceived. Welcome to your new reality, where their weapons cannot function and your power knows no limits.